Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we're sublimating 10 items for your kitchen. So I kept getting these amazing and unique sublimation blanks, and I was thinking of a way to do this where I could fit a bunch of these blanks all into one video. So I collected a bunch of them that relate to kitchen and thought I would do these all together in one video. So I'm gonna kind of do these rapid style. The basics of sublimation are the same, right? So we need a sublimation print, so that's sublimation ink, printed on sublimation paper from a sublimation printer. And I'm gonna do a strawberry print for all of these. And that way it looks like, you know, it could fit, like I wanna make a whole set of things for my kitchen. I could make one print and do an entire set for my kitchen. Now the print, the strawberry print itself, is for free, and I will have a link for you to get it in the description below this video. So if you are on computer, scroll down and click show more beside the description. If you're on mobile, swipe up on the video or click the arrow to expand the description. You'll find a list of links, videos you might like. You'll find links to all of these sublimation supplies. So if you're wondering where I got this soap dispenser, the link for it will be in the description below this video. So any of these below this video, as well as the strawberry sublimation print. So it's like strawberries, daisies, flowers all together. If you like it for any sublimation project, go ahead and grab it for free now. So now what are we going to make today? So let's quickly run through the sublimation projects we're going to make, and then I'm going to show you how I made each one very, very quickly. So I have a soap dispenser, an olive oil dispenser, so it has a lid, olive oil dispenser on the top. I have a canister, so I'm just going to do one size. However, they do have 3 different sizes. I'm going to do like an opener, so it's like grippy on the back, so you can grab those tops with it and open it, and you can customize one side with sublimation. Then I'm going to do a pot holder, a napkin holder, and yes, this 3D sublimation blank you can sublimate, and it is a very, very cool technique. And because I like these 3D blanks so much, I did a taco holder. So you might not want your strawberry print on your tacos, but I went ahead and went with the whole theme there. However, you could do a very fun, like fiesta type pattern on your taco holders if you would like. And then I'm gonna do an oven mitt, a soup bowl with a handle, and then this metal bowl that comes with a plastic lid. So all of these are sublimation blanks. What does that mean? So that means they are either polyester, like in the case of the oven mitt, it might just be a polyester fabric. And in the case of these other ones, they are coated with a poly coating. So you do need a sublimation blank, as well as a sublimation print, or infusible ink. So any of these projects will work with infusible ink as well. And then you are ready to make these projects. So let's take a look at the other like basic supplies we'll need, and then we're going to jump into making each one of these. So let's talk about the supplies you'll need for sublimation. So these are just in general the supplies you'll need for basically all of these projects. So you will need sublimation prints, and this is sublimation ink printed on sublimation paper in a sublimation printer. And I do have this pattern available for free, and I will link to that in the description below this video, so you can head there and grab the pattern and do any sublimation project with it. Now, some of them are larger, so I did have to print some on 8.5 by 14 inch paper, and others I printed on 8.5 by 11. And I just printed them all a full sheet size, and I'm just gonna kind of cut the sheets with a paper cutter to the right dimensions. And I'll do that for each one individually. And then you'll also want something to measure your sublimation blanks. I have a flexible tape measure here, as well as a tape measure I can kind of wrap around and measure the diameter with. I did show how to use both of these in my Tumblr video, and I'll link to that video in the description below this one if you're wondering how to measure any sublimation blank. You can go by the template wherever you purchase your sublimation blanks. However, you can also measure them as well. You'll want a lint roller to clean your sublimation blank, protected paper, as well as heat resistant tape. Then for some of these, we're going to do them in a sublimation oven. For those, I'm going to need shrink wrap as well as a heat gun. So I'm going to do about half in an oven and half in a heat press. So the flat ones I can do in a heat press, the round ones I'm going to go ahead and do in a sublimation oven. Now, if you had an interchangeable tumbler press, some of these would fit in a tumbler press. None of them fit in the Cricut mug press, in case you are wondering. The only other kind of specialty equipment you'll see me use is a no-mix pad and the flat metal blanks, and that is because the instructions call for them. So always follow the instructions for the sublimation blank you're using from the website where you purchase for both time, temperature, as well as pressure, and any special instructions like the use of the no-mix pad on those metal panels. So now let's start sublimating all of these kitchen items. First we'll do the opener. So I am going to do both. One is black on the back as well as tan on the back. You can preheat these. So preheat just to remove any moisture. So I preheated about 10 seconds. Allowed that to cool and then lint rolled over the top. Once you lint roll, add your sublimation print. I'm putting both of these on the same piece of sublimation paper because I printed like full sheets of sublimation paper for this project. Tape those into place on your sublimation print, then add protective paper on both the top and the bottom. And press 400 degrees for 60 seconds with light pressure. And here are both of the openers. So the tan on the back and the black on the back. I don't know if I can really tell a difference on the sublimation print. Looks fairly similar. They both look really, really great. So this is a very fun gift idea, or these would be amazing to customize to give away for like business promotion type of things. So keep these in mind for your own kitchen, business promotion, or to give as gifts. Next up is this pot holder. I did pre-press this for about 10 seconds, allowed it to cool, then lint rolled. Now this is white on one side, which is the side you sublimate on, and it's silver on the other side, which is the side that you would use to like grab your actual pot or pan or something out of the oven. Add this to your sublimation print and tape it down well. Put protective paper on both sides, and then we're gonna heat. And this one is 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Then remove from the press and remove that sublimation print. And here's the finished pot holder. I love the way this one turned out. The edge also sublimates, which is nice. And I do like the edge overall. I think it did a really great job. The top, however, the loop here where you hang it, I had it folded under when I pressed. I might have liked it better if I had it out, I'm not sure. So I might play with that if I was gonna make several of these. This is the first time I've made a full bleed pot holder, and I just really love the way it turned out. Next up is an oven mitt. Go ahead and preheat that oven mitt for about 10 seconds or so, and then lint roll the entire surface. Now I am gonna try to make a full bleed pot holder here. I've only done ones where I put like small images on the pot holder. I've never done a full bleed, but we're gonna try it today. Add the pot holder to your sublimation print. Now this is a very large pot holder with a large sublimation surface. So I did need to use an 8.5 by 14 inch print, and then I taped it down really well to the back of the pot holder. And notice the way I'm taping here, because I'm going to show you that I did actually mess this up a little bit. Then add protective paper to the top as well as the bottom, and then I pressed at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Now this one did call for firm pressure, so I would recommend a regular heat press for this one. Then once it's done pressing, just remove it from your heat press and remove that sublimation print. And you can see that this pot holder looks really, really great. I love the way this edge came out, except for one spot. This edge, however, not liking it so much. And then you can see a couple places where my tape was. So when I was taping down and kind of wrapping it around the pot holder, and I should not have done that. So do not wrap it around, otherwise you might get some tape marks on the pot holder itself. I don't think, like for my kitchen, I would even notice this. However, you might. So you might try an adhesive spray on this pot holder instead of using the tape. But overall, I'm really impressed with the way this one turned out. Now it's time for a couple of metal sublimation blanks that are for your kitchen. We're gonna do both a taco holder as well as a napkin holder. So on the napkin holder, I'm gonna do one side, then the other. The taco holder, I'm gonna do both sides, wrap them at the same time, and then press them at the same time. So let me show you the difference in those. First of all, no preheats required for these. Any type of metal sublimation blank, you might want to make sure that there's no protective film on it before you get started. Then just lint roll the surface, and in this case I'm adding the sublimation print just to one side and taping it into place. Then adding protective paper on both sides and taking it to my heat press. Now this one is a little large for my heat press, so I'm going to press it, then move it, then press it again. Similar to the way I did the pot holder in the previous example. Once I pressed one side, I'm going to remove that sublimation print, and then take it back over and flip it over and add a sublimation print to the other side. I did want to print both sides of this one, but I'm doing it one at a time. Then I'm going to take it to my heat press, again protective paper on both sides, and press again for the same time. Now this one, the napkin holder is 385 degrees for 120 seconds, medium pressure. And you will note I have that Nomex pad in there. I heated that Nomex pad before I got started pressing. Then once I was done with that second side, I went ahead and removed the sublimation print. For the taco holder, when I added the sublimation print, went ahead and rolled the entire thing. Then when I added the sublimation print, I kind of trimmed it really close to the blank and taped both sides at the same time. This is a technique I use to get really great results out of metal sublimation blanks. Then I just added protective paper to both sides and took it to my heat press. I pressed it at 385 degrees for 120 seconds using medium pressure with that Nomex pad in there. And then I just immediately flipped it over and pressed the other side at the same time and temperature. Then remove it from the heat press and remove the sublimation print from both sides. So with the taco holder version, this looks really great on both sides. With the napkin holder version, if I look really closely, that second press left some tape marks on this side. So a couple of tape marks, and I would have to look really closely with this print, but other prints you might be able to see it. So I would recommend the technique I used with the taco holder with wrapping both sides at the same time. Now for both of these, we are going to bend them into shape. So for this one, this is our base, and we are going to bend up both sides, and we can just do that with our hand. And you'll sort of want to bend them at an angle so that it holds a taco. So now it stands up on its own. For the napkin holder, we're going to bend both these sides up, and you can do this hot or cold. And you just want it to stand on its base and press up to where they're both at about a 90-degree angle. And then you can just add your napkins inside. So I love these sublimation blanks that you can press flat and then form up into something 3D. Next up are some items we are gonna have to put shrink wrap on and do in an oven. The first is like a canister. First of all, you wanna remove anything that will not go in the oven. Then add your sublimation print. So this one is gonna wrap all the way around this canister. And because I want a really great looking seam, I'm adding tape to the back of one side of where my print is going to overlap. Press that down really well, trim it to size, make sure you just have the tape in that area. Then wrap that sublimation print around your canister. Make sure that it's flat against the bottom by standing it up on your table. Then overlap the print over the top of that tape and pull it really tightly and tape into place. I did have quite a bit of trouble with this one. I pulled, taped, pulled some more. I finally got it where I thought it was fairly tight. I do think these ceramic canisters are fairly uneven when it comes to the size, so you might have some issues getting it really tight, but I just did the best I could. Then I taped it all the way down that seam and burnished it really well with a burnishing tool. Then I went all the way around the bottom with tape and again rolled that bottom, burnished it really well. Then I left my sublimation print long and I went ahead and cut the top off at this point with a pair of scissors. Then went back through with tape, taped that top down really well as well, rolled it, burnished it down, and this one was ready for shrink wrap. So in this video I'm using 2 different sizes of shrink wrap. If you have several different sizes, you can just pick what works best for the blank that you're using. I added the canister to the shrink wrap, then used a heat gun to heat it up and shrink it to the surface. I then put it in my oven. So for the canister, it's 385 degrees for 20 minutes. So it is a very long time in an oven. You could use a tumbler press for this one if you have one that opens up wide enough. These are fairly large in diameter. Once it's done, I just removed it from the oven, and you do want to try to remove that shrink wrap immediately so that it removes rather easily. Now this one is hot, very, very hot when it comes out. Be sure to wear your heat resistant gloves and carefully remove everything from the canister. And here's my completed canister all cool with the lid on it, and you can see the sublimation print looks really, really good. And let me try to find, here's my seam. My seam looks really good. Now my print did not match up. I knew that going into it, but I do think that the seam looks really, really good and you can barely see it. So I'm really impressed with it. Now overall, the print is a little faded and maybe a little blurry on this canister. I just don't think I got it as tight as I could have. I could have probably worked some more to get it as tight as possible. I do have another video on 20-ounce tumblers and getting those seams perfect. The same type of thing would apply to this, However, with these ceramic surfaces, a lot of times they'll be way more uneven than a metal surface. So a lot of times you just have to deal with a little bit of imperfection. But overall, I'm really in love with the way these turned out. Now these come in 3 different sizes. I'm doing the largest size. You can definitely do all 3 for a cute little canister set. Next up is a metal soap dispenser. Again, for this one, I'm taking everything out that you don't want to put in the oven. And then I am going to have a full sublimation print that wraps all the way around. So I'm going to sublimate the full thing except for the top. And you're going to see me do the same process I just did with the canister. So add some tape to the back of the sublimation print on one end. Set everything on a table to get your sublimation print straight. Wrap it around the middle of this soap dispenser. Now this one I cut the print exactly to the size I needed it to be before I got started on this. Then just tape that seam down really tightly, burnish it well, tape around the bottom really tightly, burnish that well, roll it against the table, and again repeat on the top. And then once you have that all done, just put it in a shrink wrap sleeve and shrink it down. Now these would probably fit in a shrink wrap sleeve that is made for a 20-ounce tumbler, so you could use those in this case. Then this one bakes at 360 degrees for 6 minutes in an oven, or you could use a tumbler press if you have one. And then once you remove it, be sure to remove the shrink wrap as soon as possible so it is easier to remove. Then after you have everything off, everything cools down, you just add the pump back. You would fill it with soap and you have a cute soap pump. So this one is a full wrap. It does have a seam, but I got it as good as possible with that tape trick and I really think it looks good. Overall, I'm super happy with this one. So this is similar to sublimating a 20-ounce tumbler. It's metal, it's white, so similar to sublimating that, and it looks amazing. So let's look at an oil dispenser that's actually a silver, and it's a similar sublimation technique, but the silver gives a different look. So with this oil dispenser, again, I removed everything. This is silver, not white. It is going to give a completely different look. Then I went ahead and lint rolled the surface, cleaned it really well, and then I added a sublimation print. Now for this one, I am just going to sublimate like a band sort of around the center, just for kind of a different look. You can sublimate that entire flat surface if you would like. Again, I used the tape trick. So tape on the back side of the sublimation print on one end, cut around that, wrap around this olive oil dispenser in this case, and then hold it tightly and tape it into place. And then I just literally put the same shrink wrap on it that I've used for those past 2 projects and shrunk it with my heat gun. Then this one again is 360 degrees for 6 minutes. So I actually put it in with the soap dispenser, if you saw that, because they bake for the same time. That was an easy way to do that. Again, remove the heat wrap as well as the sublimation print as soon as it comes out using heat resistant gloves. And then this is how this one looks, and hopefully you can see that. So the silver of the blank does come through the print. So it gives a really seriously completely different look than on white. Now they do make this oil dispenser in white. However, I wanted to give everyone some options. So if the silver look is more the look in your kitchen, this might be the option for you. And you can still add a sublimation print to it. And this one, again, I just added the band, but you could sublimate from here to here in this case very, very easily, just the same way as you would do like a sublimation tumbler. Again, this is a metal sublimation blank. Speaking of metal sublimation blanks, let's sublimate a bowl. So this is the metal bowl and I took the plastic lid off of it, and I'm gonna put, again, a band around this. However, even at 8.5 by 14 inches, I could not get a band to wrap all the way around this. So I am going to piece together 2 sublimation prints. Now, if you have the bypass tray for your sawgrass, you can print even longer than 14 inches. However, if you do not and want to piece together the prints, this is how you do that. So I went ahead and did the tape trick on the back of one of the pieces, lined it up with another piece where the prints meet. So I wanted an area where the print would meet and sort of continue around. I taped those 2 together and then I wrapped it around my bowl. Again, I cleaned the bowl really well with the lint roller, wrapped it around my bowl, and then trimmed the print where it met. And then I repeated that process again where this final seam is located. So I went ahead and taped the back, wrapped it around, pulled it tight, and taped it together. On this bowl, I'm pressing this strip all the way up to the top. You can put it anywhere located on the bowl that you would like. The shrink wrap in the case of this metal bowl is cut basically the opposite way. So you do want the same type of shrink wrap, however it is like a big circle where it would fit around this bowl. And what helped me was to hold it on one side and shrink it to the opposite side. The shrink wrap itself was really oversized. It was way larger than the bowl, but I was able to get it to shrink to the bowl and get it super tight and ready for sublimation. Then again, this one is 360 degrees for 6 minutes. Heat for the full time, then remove it from the oven, remove the shrink wrap, remove the sublimation print, and you have a cute bowl. So here's my bowl, all completed. You can see, so this is the seam where it didn't meet perfectly. And then you can actually see the seam where it does meet. So I wasn't perfect with the seam there, but it doesn't look horrible. And I do really like these bowls. Now these bowls come in a variety of sizes. Went ahead and put the lid back on once it cooled. You can get these in a variety of sizes. So if you're looking to make custom bowls for your kitchen, this would be one way to do that. Finally, we have a soup bowl. So this is like a bowl, ceramic bowl with a handle. And yes, it is a sublimation blank. These come in a couple of different sizes. This one sort of has a rounded bottom, and you really can't sublimate around the bottom, at least not easily. I use the exact same procedure as for the metal bowl. However, I am not going to sublimate on the sides of the handle of this one. So I'm going to leave those sides of the handle without a sublimation print. But I followed the same procedure and I lined it up at the top. So I taped everything into place, and I went ahead and taped down at the top, sort of all the way around. I didn't tape totally around, just kind of skipping a few areas, but you could tape all around the top if you would like. Then to add shrink wrap to a bowl, I like to cut out the handle, tape where I have that cut out so it doesn't pull apart too much, and then shrink the shrink wrap to the bowl. Again, the shrink wrap was way oversized. However, I was able to get it to fit on the bowl. Then I went ahead and put it in my oven. Now the instructions for this one said 400 degrees for 14 minutes. This small oven only goes to 390, so I upped the time a little bit to try to adjust for that. Then once it was done, I took it out. I will also note when I removed that soup bowl that I had to go get a different glove because it was way too hot to handle with my heat resistant gloves. So I had to get another oven mitt in order to remove it. Remove the shrink wrap, remove the sublimation print, and I had a cute bowl for my kitchen. Now this is that bowl. So you might have noticed in the oven that one of the sides of the shrink wrap got loose. That was this side over here. And it is very blurry. So if your shrink wrap gets loose, do expect a blurry area. And this is actually where our seam was, and the seam looks really good, so I'm kind of disappointed that we can't tell. But overall, the bowl looks really, really good, except for that area. So I was happy with the rest of the areas, but this, where the shrink wrap came loose, just really, really got blurry in this area. Probably would be a bowl that I still use. However, you do want to be aware of that and make sure your shrink wrap stays tight. If it comes loose like that, it's probably not going to give you the results that you're looking for. The pressure is just not going to be there. So I could have removed this from the oven when I saw it was getting loose, added new shrink wrap, and reheated it again. That probably would have fixed the issue. If you do that before you remove any of the sublimation print, I will say that. Now do expect with this bowl, it has this curved area here. That area, you're probably not going to be able to get a sublimation print. So you might want to choose a different design instead of a band here. I'm doing the same print on all of them, so I did the band. But you might want to choose something else if you would like. And then I did not go under the handle. I have another video about sublimating under the handle of regular mugs. Would probably work the same for these bowls if you wanted to try under the handle as well. So there you have a way to make a ceramic soup bowl. So I hope you enjoyed that. I don't feel like any of these are hard to make. So maybe you are not interested in all 10, but you probably found a couple that you are interested in. So head to the description below this video, pick out the ones you're interested in, maybe make a pot holder and a canister set, something like that. The napkin holder, so like which one is my favorite? My favorite is by far the canisters. I am in love with the sublimation blank. Probably the bendable metal is my next favorite, so probably the napkin holder would be my next favorite. I was super excited about these openers with the grippy back. I am going to be using these, like, I was waiting to film this video and take all my pictures so I can take these into my kitchen. Like, I've been wanting some custom ones of those for a very long time. Mine look horrible, so I am excited about those. And then probably next would be like the soap dispenser. So the more unique blanks are probably my favorites, but if your favorite is the soup bowl, then 100% grab those and start sublimating on them. Make an entire set of soup bowls or canisters, what have you. Whatever you like, start sublimating it. So hopefully this helped you and gave you some ideas for some unique sublimation projects for your own kitchen or to give as gifts. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.